Hello and welcome. I am Shannon. I'm with Creating with Shannon with Pick and Boots Vintage, and today we are going to have some fun making over something that I found. I actually found it a few years ago, but this is something that I saw it, I loved it, I had to have it. So we're gonna make it over. It's taken me a little while to decide what I want to do with it, but I finally decided what I want to do. But real quick, I want to show you the before. I want to show you, this is the before picture. Let's see. Here we go. So this is, and if you're on TikTok, you can't see it. I'm sorry. But everybody else, you can see the picture. This is what it looked like before. It was just a plain clay pot with some beautiful white roses. I went ahead and gave it a little bit of some chalk paint, and then I sealed it. And the reason why I'm doing this is because I was in California recently, and look at all of these beautiful roses. They were everywhere. They had roses just everywhere, and they were natural. Like, they weren't even like just being taken care of or whatever. You could just tell they were kind of like just out there in the natural, in the wild, and they were just absolutely gorgeous. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to, I have it here. Here's the beautiful roses, and these are fake. I can't grow anything to save my life. Even though I want to, I try. It just never worked out. It's really good for about 2 weeks. And then I don't know if it's because I forget, or the Florida sun, or the Florida bugs. Anywho, I'm not the best. Hey, Jen. I'm not the best at taking care of plants. Though I try, because I always try to do a vegetable garden. I want to do this, I want to do that, and it just sometimes doesn't always work out. Anyway, so I have this. It's all prepped and ready to go. Now, if you saw my video last week, and I posted the video on YouTube, this one, let me just show it to you. We're going to go solo with this. If you're on TikTok, I'm sorry you can't see it, but you go to my YouTube and you can see it there. This, I used the Maze Roses from the Iron Orchid Designs new transfer. There's a new transfer. It's a new release, the summer collection. Gorgeous. So I took it apart, and I didn't use the middle part, so I have the words left over. So you can see that here. And so we're going to put these on, and then we're going to have some fun with some of the moss. We're going to do some moss effect. And then we're going to put a little bit of rust on it. So that is what we're going to do. So let's get started. Now, the nice thing about the Iron Orchid Designs IOD transfers is that they come in sheets and booklets. So you can cut apart whatever part you want. You can cut out what you don't want. So when I did that cabinet, I didn't necessarily want to have the words on there. So I just cut them out, and I saved them because I knew that at some point I'd probably want to use them. Now I'm hoping I'm not going to have a problem, because this came off the transfer sheet and did touch something dirty. So I'm just hoping there's enough. Yeah, there's enough to make sure it sticks. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to put Maze here, and then I'm going to put the rest of the words underneath it. So this will be the front, and then I'll put the moss and stuff around it. So let's start with the M. And like I said, I already chalk painted this, and then I went ahead and put one coat of clear coat on it. I don't always clear coat before I put my transfers on, but because I didn't have 24 hours before it dried, I just made sure I put some clear coat on it, because you can lift your chalk paint if it hasn't had ample dry time, but the clear coat will stop that from happening. So they give you this little transfer tool. You just rub it on. And there you go. So there's the M. Now we're going to have the rest for Maze. And it is kind of on a curved surface, so it's not always that easy to do. But we're going to give it a shot. It doesn't have to be perfect, because I am going to rust it, and I am going to moss it. So it'll definitely hide some of it. Hey, Cheryl, thanks for joining. All right, let's see. So lift it off. There we go. So maize is on there. Look how nice that looks. Tell you what, these Iron Orchid designs with transfers, they work so easily, but they also just dress up your pieces. Now, this really doesn't fit here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut the bottom off, and I'm going to rearrange it because it's just a little bit too wide for what. Let's see, scissors. Here they are. So I'm going to go ahead and just cut this. But I do like it because it says only 150. Or excuse me, only $1.50. 150 would be a lot. Okay, so cut that part off. And then we're going to cut this part off. Now the rest of the design should fit. And it should fit right underneath it perfectly. And then we can decide if we're going to put the other part in a minute. So basically, I need to see what the middle is. So I'm going to cut this part off where it connects to the other part. So I can tell where my center is. And I can do that by either counting the grids, I can count the letters, I can do it several different ways. What I'm going to do though is I like to count the letters because sometimes I just prefer to do it that way. So I count every letter and every space. So that way I find the middle letter and then I put that in the middle. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. So there's 22. So I need, the middle would be 11. So we'll put 11 and 12 right in the middle. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So we're going to put M right in the middle. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we're going to put it right here in the middle. And it's not, if I really, really, really want it to be absolutely perfect, I would measure. But because it's curving around, it's going to be different anyway. And it's already, if you look at it, it's already got kind of a wave going to it. So, you know what? Cream collection of, I might just use this and cut cream collection off because this has a lot going on and I don't know how that's going to look on a curved surface. So let's just go ahead and remove that. I can always go back and use it if I want to. So let's go back. So now we can just use this. Maize 12 Ever Blooming Roses. I think that'll be the right choice. So we're going to go right here. I could even stack it if I wanted to. Whoops, did it start sticking it? So I could even go 12 and then blooming, have a little dash and go down here, but I don't want to do that. I want to have it one big section right here. Okay, let's get it rubbed on. And if you're wondering why it's not rolling around, I just have this little box here. You can set it in there and it doesn't roll. It kind of holds it in place, which is nice. I have all different sizes because I always seem to be working on curved surfaces for some reason. All right. And let's just check. It's all releasing perfect. All right. Now let's do the rest. Might be a slight off center. I mean crooked, but by the time I get all the other stuff on, it's going to be just perfect. And back in the day when things like this were made, everything was handwritten. So and a lot of people don't really have straight handwriting. So, and this is for me anyway, so I'm not going to resell it, so it doesn't have to be perfect. I'm just glad I'm finally getting to it, because like I said, I've had this for a while. And if when I'm pulling it up, if any part sticks, I can just lay it back down. But it all came off. Okay, 12 ever blooming roses. Now, it's way off centered, but that's okay. It doesn't bother me. Because what I'm going to do to make it look a little bit more centered is I'm going to put this down here. And it's going to, what it's going to do, it's going to balance out. It's going to balance it out so it's not as noticeable. But like I said, once I get everything layered, you're not going to notice it anyway. Okay, there we go. So look at that. And if I wanted to, I could put that on here, but I don't want to. I'm going to leave it just like this. Look at how pretty that is. Okay, so I am going to save these other parts though, because you never know when you just need a little word or a little something to add. Sometimes you work on something that's so small that would be just enough transfer. Let me clear this stuff out of the way. Now comes the fun part. I absolutely love. If you've never seen this stuff is amazing. It's the Moss Effect by Pentart. This stuff is amazing. Okay, so what you need is you need these two, and then you need heat gun or a blow dryer, and I have my heat gun right here. I like this little one. Now, we're going to start with the dark green. And I just have a little like stencilless brush. And let's see, make sure it's on my screen. I'm just going to start applying it, and I'm stippling. I'm going up and down. I want it to look like moss, so I'm not painting it. I want it to have, you know, texture, dimension. And that's why I said that it's okay if something's crooked, because I can certainly go right over parts of this with the moss. I don't want to cover the whole thing because, you know, moss is not, when it grows, it doesn't grow over everything. Okay. So let me turn it this way so you can see. So that's the dark green. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to open the light green. Another different brush. And then I'm going to go right over the top of the dark green in certain areas. This gives it a nice dimensional, makes it look a little bit more realistic. I'm going to go back over just a little bit. Now the trick is that what you want to do is you want to take your heat gun and you heat it. And what happens, the heat causes the moss effect to expand and grow, so it looks like fuzzy moss. I'll zoom in just a second here. Let me just get some of this going. Look at that. You can really see it right in here where it's starting to become really fuzzy. Not only are we going to add the moss, but we're also going to add a little bit of rust. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick this one, and then we're just going to go in real. See that? See how it's starting to expand with the heat? Which makes it look like real moss. I love it. Okay, let's zoom back out. We're going to do some more. All right. Whoops, wrong way. Let's do it this way. A, B. Okay. Now let's go and do here. Let's do some more. We don't want it over the whole entire piece. We do want to have it in enough places, though, so it looks... That's cool. And you should really use the heat when the Moss Effect paste is still wet. Okay, let's get some light green on there. Oops, a little bit too much. And you can even take some black velvet powder. I've seen that being added in there, which gives it a neat look. You can actually touch it up with a little bit of paint. All right. This looks a little bit forced to me, so I'm going to go back in with some of this green here and maybe give it some light. Cheryl, no, the moss is not a 2-for kit, but I do have both of them on the website. I sell both of them. I think they're $9 each. And they also have another one. It's called Grass Effect, and that's a bright green, which is kind of neat too. Sometimes if you want a brighter green. I'm just lightly taking my brush, and let's see, where are my baby wipes? I just smudged a bit. Just lightly, just so it looks like it's running down a little bit, smudging a little bit. Look at that. Because sometimes when you use the moss, it's not always just the dark heavy. Ooh, but I need to get the heat on it. So you can smudge it a little bit to make it have that green look to it. Look at that. But let me go ahead and get this fuzzy. And that's what the heat gun is doing. It's making it look very realistic. It's expanding the paste and making it look like it's real moss. Look at that. That is incredible. And I'm going to smudge some more around different places before we get to the rust. I just wanted to make sure I gave this some heat before so I could get this. Look at, see how it's all expanding? And if you put this on and you can find an area that maybe you need more, you can just go ahead and add it. So for this live, I'm going to focus just on the front. And I'll go ahead, I'll be doing the back. I'll do that off camera. But I will definitely post pictures so you can see the final result. All right, so that's good there. Finish with my, I'm just pulling a little bit of the green. And I'm smushing it around. I just want to have a little bit. So it looks like, you know, there's other moss where it's starting to grow. It just looks a little bit more natural. Not something that's forced, which you never want anything to be forced. Okay. Now, of course, what we need is a little bit of brown in there, right? Because it's too green. Because in moss, I'll put this aside. There's sometimes some of the brown in there. So see how it's coming along? So this is what I was talking about. You don't really need to, the letters don't have to be perfect because we're covering it with so much stuff. Okay, so for TikTok land, let me show you up there. Look. See how beautiful that is? Again, I'm going to do the back later. We're focusing on the front. Okay, so now what we want to do is we want to add a little bit of browns and some rust because this could be an old cast iron, you know, planter that's rusting. So we're going to add to that real quick. So let me just cover my moss and put that to the side. So this is what I'm going to use for the part. I'm going to use a little bit of the antiquing gel. I'm going to be using the ochre and the umbra. Then I'm going to be using the Rust Effect set.
See it. When you hold it up to the camera, you can't see it.
Oh, okay. Yeah. What are you watching it on?
My phone, but it also
on YouTube. Okay. Okay. So then we're gonna do the rest kit. Sorry, somebody was watching the video out in the shop and was telling me something about the video. Okay. So let's start with the umber, and I'm going to just take a little bit of brown, and I'm just going to kind of put some right here. And a little bit over here. And maybe a little down here. And now there is a reason for this, and you're going to see in just a second. So that's the brown. And then now we're going to do a little bit of the umbra. Or ochre. Sorry, ochre. I'm going to mix it right in with this one. They work well together for that rusty look too. I'm just going to kind of put it in here. Now, this is what you need to get the rust. With the rust kit, you get this rust effect powder. See that? And you simply put it in to whatever you just put on when it's wet. So I'm going to stick it on here and I'm going to push it in to my antiquing gel. This is what's going to turn to rust when I put my rust juice on it. And it comes with 3 different colors. I'm only going to use 2. I'm going to use the yellow. I'm just going to drip it. I'm going to squeeze it right on where I just put the rust. And yes, it's going to drip. I should actually do this part with it standing up so I can drip straight down. And then I want to do the brown. And I like to mix them just because it would give a more authentic look. All right, so let me let it sit up for a second. Let it drip. Wow. So this TikTok world, that's you guys. So see the drips? It'll turn more rust. And as it sits, you see how that's coming? So you really want it to drip. So sometimes what I'll do is I'll take a little bit of water and I'll start my drips and then I'll put all the other stuff on and then the green sprays on, it'll just drip in those drips. This is just hard to do with showing it live. But we're going to do it anyway. We're going to do it a little bit more. So, because this to me looks a little forced, I want it to look a little bit more natural. So where is let me get my blue brush. And I'm going to, where's my water? Let me just, I normally have my squeeze bottle, but it fell and it broke. So now I got to get another one. So I'm going to have some natural drips coming down. And a little bit over here. And a little bit over here. And I can also go back and put some moss over this too. So it looks like the moss, look at that. The moss is growing over the rust. This is the part that I love. This is where you just can come back in. I didn't add any more to my brush from the rust or from the moss. I'm using simply what was on it. So it's kind of like just dry brushing because you really don't want to cover up too much of it. But it just takes a little bit of the edge off with the, oh, I meant my Mr. Bottle. Look, my fearless helpers heard my distress call. There we go. Just kind of stipple some of this in here. And look at that. Now, doesn't that look, it's coming along beautifully. But I feel like we need a little bit of brown right in here. What do you think? I love the smudge. Oh, thanks, Cheryl. Oh, there it is. Look. Ta-da! I got a brand new one. Ask and you shall receive. Okay, so we're going to do this one with the water. Now, I'm going to stand it up a little bit, so it might be a little hard for you to see, but I'm going to spray it so it gets the little drip. Then I'm going to come back with this, because I want this to drip too. I'm going to put a little bit off to the side, just a little bit. Now I'm using the same brush. I'm going into the ochre, or the ochre color. Now, the powder brush. Where did you go? Powder brush, powder brush. I have too many brushes going on here. I'll just get a new one. Okay, so I'm taking the rust powder. This is what is going to make it look rusty. That's too little. I need a bigger one. So I'm just actually taking the rust dust, the rust powder, and sticking it right into what was just wet on my surface, pushing it in to make sure it's on there. Now look, see how pretty that is? Now I'm going to drip the colors down. After I drip the colors, I'm going to do the same ones. I'm going to do the yellow. But this time, it's going to drip straight down so it looks more natural. And then I was going to use the brown again. Yep. And then there we go. So now the drips are going down. Let me hold it up to both cameras. Let me just go solo here so you can see it. and TikTok. See the, it's kind of, there we go. All right. I am absolutely loving this. It's turning out way better than I expected. It might not transfer well onto, excuse me, video, but definitely when I take pictures, it will. Let me go back to this real quick. Look at that. Isn't that coming out beautifully? Now, this looks a little, on my video, it looks a little dark, but trust me, there's dark green, there's light green, there's brown, there's a lot going on here, and it's looking really good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop here, and I am going to finish the back, and I'll post pictures and show you what it looks like. Every product that I used here is linked to underneath in the description, except for the Rust Effect because I'm out, but if you want it, I can get it for you for sure. I just have to order it. It's very popular, so it sells out pretty quick. Anyway, thank you for joining me, and check out my YouTube. I've got lots of videos on there. If you're ever in the Fort Myers area, make sure you stop by. If you're local, stop in and say hello. All right.